Guys, the Samsung Galaxy S25 is now official. The Unpacked event has just ended, and we were live during that event. I think we had about 300 people in the chat having a good time in this video. What I'm going to do is quickly go over what you missed if you missed the event. And I would say that the spoiler for this is not a lot of hardware changes. We'll quickly start off here just looking at the Samsung listing on their website for these phones. This is the S25, and let's be honest, guys, it looks very similar to the S24, $799. The S25 Plus is a little bit bigger, $999, again, looking remarkably similar. When we go over to the Ultra, there are some subtle differences here. The biggest thing is just going to be that the corners up here are a bit more curved than they were before. The cameras actually do look a little bit different, but again, flat side rails, flat back, flat front, they look very, very similar. $12.99, although at launch you can get the 512 gig model for the same $12.99, and you have some exclusive colors like this lovely jade option that I actually ended up going with myself. So from the hardware front, looking at it, there's just not a lot. We could jump over to this article on ShaneCraig.tech, where I did quickly try to throw together the specifications. And if you look here and you compare these to last year's models, what you'll find is that they're basically the same. The screen sizes, the brightness, which actually I need to see a small typo. I need to actually fill these things out. Whoops, there we are. We'll fix it right here on the spot. Just like last year, 2600 nits of peak brightness across the board, which look, that's not a bad figure. That's a pretty bright screen. It's just a bit disappointing to see it be the same as last year, and it's been passed by some other devices. So not particularly great, but the battery size, the charging speeds, a lot of this is exactly the same as in prior years. So on the hardware front, what is actually new? There are a few things, okay? So we do have the newest Snapdragon system on a chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and this thing is very, very fast. We're also getting 12 gigs of RAM across the board. When you're doing as much on-device large language model stuff as these phones are going to be trying to do, you need the RAM, and they are getting the RAM. The Ultra model also got a new ultra-wide camera that is 50 megapixels, Gorilla Glass Armor 2, as well as a new larger vapor chamber in the Ultra phone. With this new Snapdragon 8 Elite, we've heard rumors that maybe that chip is not as good on thermals, and you might want to have some better heat dissipation, so it does have that. Now, on the negative side, apparently it is true that the S Pen is losing its Bluetooth capability. I reported on this just a little while back, and a lot of you kind of refused to believe that it was possible, but apparently it is possible. The S Pen no longer has Bluetooth, which means air actions and camera controls are gone. That's a bit of a tough pill to swallow. Even if most people probably weren't using those features, it sucks to lose anything. But otherwise, like I said, everything else does seem to be very much the same. So what's the focus? Well, guys, it's going to be software. And on that front, there is a decent amount of stuff. So the first biggest thing for me is the fact that the power button is now actually going to trigger Google's Gemini and not Bixby. Bixby's actually still there, apparently, but primarily power button, it's going to trigger Gemini. You don't need a good lock module to do that anymore. But it's not just regular Gemini, because Samsung has actually done some work to integrate with extensions some of their own applications. So their Reminder app, their Calendar app, and Samsung Notes all integrate. So you can hold down your power button and tell it to put something into your calendar, and it's going to be able to do that. So if you use these Samsung applications, Gemini can actually work with those apps a bit more closely. Now, they did also demo something kind of interesting, the use of natural language in different places throughout the system. So they showed in the system settings saying, "My eyes hurt," and it pulled up the screen to enable, what was this thing called, the Eye Comfort Shield, where it like kind of changes the tint of things to be better. It's like a blue light filter, basically. So that's kind of a cool idea. Somebody also just said quite naturally, to look for a certain photo of their dog, a very long description, and it found that photo. So the idea is just talk to your phone in a more natural way, and it's going to be able to kind of reach into your applications and do what you need to do, whether it's those notes or reminders, it's the gallery app, it's your system settings. It should just kind of be able to get in there and do what it needs to do without you having to think, what exact phrasing do I need to think of to make this work? They've also added a new thing called AI Select in the little edge panel. You pull this thing out from the side, and it's kind of like circle to search. You circle an area, and it's going to give you a set of AI tools that are contextually reasonable. So if it's a bunch of text, it might be the text tools that let you generate or summarize or proofread your text. If it's an image, it might show you things like generative edit or drawing assist or the ability to record a GIF. It really is very similar to like an AI circle to search type thing. They've also added something called Now Brief, which is supposed to give you contextualized information based on things like the time of day and your habits. So the idea would be maybe you're going to open this thing up and it's going to say, hey, here's the weather forecast, here's how you slept last night, and here's a coupon for an espresso that was in your inbox or something like that. I think that's something that they showed in some of the marketing material. We also have the Now bar, which is on your lock screen, and it's going to give you information about ongoing activities like music, navigation, and timers. For me, the only issue is I don't really look at my lock screen very often, so maybe this might get me to just look at my lock screen. Typically, I unlock the device straight away, either face unlock or that fingerprint scanner. So who knows, maybe it will be quite useful. We've also got some Pixel sort of features coming over too. They've got their own Audio Magic Eraser clone. So you take a video that you shot either on that device or on another device, and it's going to try to recognize the different sounds in the video and try to sort of block out in a very granular way those background noises. There's also their version of Best Take, which honestly might even be better because it seemed like it was basically working with one shot. On these modern phones, when you take one photo, it actually probably took like a whole bunch of photos and then it stacks them, puts them through a pipeline. So what this is going to do is it's going to look at all those photos that it took, and it's going to try to combine different frames intelligently such that each person is looking forward, their eyes are open and they're smiling, compresses it down, pipeline, boom, you have a photo where everybody is kind of making an appropriate face. No one's blinking or looking away or anything like that. That is pretty cool. So now that I've painted a fairly not exciting picture of these devices, I do want to remind you that if you're going to purchase them, please do check out the links in the description down below or go to the link to this article, shanecraig.tech, and you can find the links there as well if you're going to buy the device. If you use my links, it doesn't cost you a dime, but it does put a couple of dimes into my pocket, which helps me continue doing what I'm doing. I did pre-order the S25 Ultra in Jade, so I will be doing a lot more content on this device, reviews, so forth and so on. I do want to quickly point out as well, I've already got some cases on the way, 3 from Samsung. I have the Pitaka case and the thin-born / fiber-born, whatever they're going by these days. I have that case coming as well, so a couple of really historically great aramid fiber cases that I cannot wait to review. And once I've done that, you're going to want to be subscribed to this channel to see all of that coverage. If you have any questions, things that you want to see covered once I get my device on hand, drop a comment down below, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.